Hello guys, it's Emily again with the Theory of Curiosity here in Sri Lanka. I want to talk to you guys about malaria, which is something that Sri Lanka has been battling with for forever. It's a tropical country, it's just something that happens in places like this naturally. Malaria is a protozoan parasite that has half of its lifetime in its host, so say you're the host, and half of its lifetime in a mosquito. So the mosquito that they have here that generally carries the malaria parasite is called the Anopheles mosquito. And the Anopheles mosquito has a weird habit where it has to sit and rest after it has a blood meal. Not every mosquito needs to do that, but this one does, which actually makes it a lot easier to control because residual pesticides actually work on it. So residual pesticide means that it's in contact with the surface, and you actually have to contact a surface to contact the pesticide, basically. So it doesn't need to be in the air to kill this thing. So that made it a lot easier for these guys. So initially, they tried to use DDT back in kind of the 1950s to control the Anopheles mosquito here. And it was quite a successful program until A, they realized that DDT kills birds, obviously, and that the DDT it actually makes it so that the mosquitoes are resistant to it if you use it too much and in the wrong way. So that was kind of a bummer. So they had a really good malaria control program until around the 1960s, and then the DDT resistance came up, and then they started getting malaria cases more and more. Additionally, right around the 1980s, the malaria parasite became resistant to quinine, which is actually from a bark, and it's the thing that makes tonic water tonic water. The main ingredient in tonic water, and the only way that they can call it tonic water, is quinine. And quinine is actually an anti-malarial drug, but nowadays a lot of the malaria parasites are pretty resistant to it, so it doesn't so much work anymore. Anyway, so right around that time, it had gotten resistant to it, and there was this huge explosion of malaria cases in Sri Lanka, and they actually increased until around 2006. And in 2008, they decided to put a lot of resources towards it. So what they did is you actually had to self-present at malaria reporting vans, and if you didn't report, then it was illegal. So you had to report, and they had to test it. So what they did is they used the existing Postal service, which actually had been implemented by the British colonialists. Not that I want to give the colonialists a whole lot of credit, but they actually did implement a really good postal system. It made it so that lab samples could go from anywhere in Sri Lanka to Colombo to get tested within 24 hours. So they had to present to these buses, which were part of their public healthcare system, which was just great because Sri Lanka has one of the best public healthcare systems in the world, and they have a really good postal system. So because of those two joint forces, they were able to completely control malaria. And the World Health Organization was finally able to declare Sri Lanka completely eradicated by 2016. Anyway, that's my whole spiel for today. Bye guys.